Hey guys, it's me, Mel. Today I'll be going over every drawing app I could find for the iPad, and what better way to do this than drawing the same illustration on each and every app over and over again. Not gonna lie, it was a very tedious process, but I think it was the best way for me to test every app to the fullest and determine which apps work best, how easy to use they are, and how many features they offer. Most of these apps are free or have a free version you can use. At the end, I'll be comparing the results and will let you know my favorites, so make sure to stick around. So, if you're an artist or interested in getting into digital drawing, this video is for you. Let's dive into it. The first app we'll be checking out is Sketchbook. This app is available for both iOS and Android. I've actually done a video of me drawing on an Android tablet using Sketchbook before, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave it in the corner and in the description below as well. Sketchbook has a lot of brushes that you can use, and they have a double tap undo feature, which I love since I'm used to that having it in Procreate. I haven't used this app in a long while, so it did take me a minute to get used to it again, but I think it's quite user-friendly and easy to understand for beginners. I like the texture of the brushes and this little color picker and brush bubble that they kind of have on the screen. It just stays there. I liked it personally. I didn't have the greatest time blending brushes, in my opinion, and it does not have a liquify feature that I've found. But I think it's a pretty good app with everything necessary for beginner artists to get started with digital art. There is a paid version you can get that unlocks more brushes, so if you want to check that out, you can do that as well. But I just used the free version to show you that you can use it as well. The second app I actually found on Instagram. It's called HiPaint. I had never heard of this app before, but basically this was advertised as a free Procreate-like app, so I knew I wanted to check it out. Just looking at the app, the interface is pretty similar to Procreate's. You can tap with 2 fingers to undo, which I love. It has a color wheel like Procreate. You can color pick with the Apple Pencil. The brushes are similar to Procreate, and you can even import brushes. And most importantly, it has the liquify feature, which is a must-have for me after using it for so long. So I feel like this drawing went a lot faster and easier than the first one. It also allowed me to flip the canvas, which is super helpful with getting everything to look right. I mostly used the round brush and a pencil brush for sketching. I could use several layers and had different layer modes like multiply and so on, like Procreate has, which was really useful. So, as someone that's been using Procreate daily for the past 3 years, I think it's a pretty good alternative if you're looking for a Procreate-like app, but that's free. And here is the final drawing. The next app on the list is Artzxmel. I will be using the free version, as you can see. The free version has limited brushes and you can only draw on one layer. And here you can see me trying to double tap to undo, which you cannot do on this app. But if you want to unlock all the features of the app, you can pay $12.99 once. So Artzxmel is a really fun app. It has a feature that I love, which is you get the texture of real life paint and mixing. I absolutely love the way the colors mix on the oil paint. Sadly, like I mentioned, on the free version, you can only use one layer, which I'm pretty sure that's new because I used this app in the past and I feel like I remember using more than one layer. So if you love using a lot of layers on your art, then you might need to get the paid version. I've used this app in the past, but I never drew an actual portrait. I always did something simple. So this was a bit of a challenge for me, but it was a fun challenge. I really did enjoy the way the colors mixed and the texture, especially with that watercolor texture in the back, which made it feel like it was an actual drawing. So, do I think this is an everyday app to use for drawing? No. Not on the free version, but it's great if you want to get out of your comfort zone and try a challenge, and I think it's one of the best apps I've found if you want that traditional art feel to your drawings. Now, if you pay to unlock all the features, then I do think that it would be a great everyday drawing app. And here's the final drawing. And next up we got Medibang Paint. This is actually the first time I've used this program before. I've heard about it a lot, but I've never tried it until now. I forgot to record the sketching process, so I'm sorry about that. I found it easy to get around this program. It had a good and basic selection of brushes and lots of useful features like flipping canvas. It had a transform tool and all that. I don't think it had a liquefy tool though. It does have ads at the top of the screen though when you're drawing, which I did remove from the screen record, so keep that in mind. The only drawback for me was their blending tool. It didn't really blend any colors, it just smeared the colors across the canvas. But I found a way to get around it. Instead of blending, I layered the colors on top of each other until I got a nice gradient, and I kind of found my way around that. But overall, I think this is a pretty good app. It's a great option for a free drawing app. So if you're getting started with digital art and you're looking for a free drawing app, I would definitely recommend giving Medibang Paint a try. And here's my final drawing. Now we got Infinite Painter. I actually discovered this app halfway through the filming process, so this is actually my first time trying it. I'm going to be trying the free version of this app only. There is a paid version that's only $9.99 to unlock all features. There's only one drawback for me with the free version, and that is that you can only use 3 layers, so make good use of them. I actually really enjoyed this app. It had a pretty good selection of default brushes. You could use different layer modes, flip the canvas, and double tap to undo. I also really liked their blending tool. It made a good job at blending the colors without completely smearing it like on Medibang. I also really like the display on it, where you don't have so many buttons on the interface at all times where you can get confused easily. It only shows what's necessary and you can always click around to find what you need. This program also has rulers, transform tools, and liquefy, but those are only available on the full paid version. But I do feel like this is a great app for any artist, beginner or experienced. I think you can get away with drawing on the free version and limiting yourself to 3 layers only, and if you decide to pay for it, then it's an even greater app because you can unlock all those extra features. So, do I recommend this app? Yes, it was one of my favorites that I tried. It's simple to use, user-friendly, and if you can get the paid version, even better. And here's the final drawing. So next up we have Procreate. This is one of the most popular apps out there and my personal favorite. Procreate costs $12.99 US, and it has everything that any artist at any skill level may need in a drawing app. I'll be speeding through this one. If you guys want to see more of my drawing process in Procreate, you can watch some of my previous videos linked in the description. This app was the first drawing app I ever tried and I absolutely loved it. It was super easy to understand, coming from someone who had never done digital art back in 2020, and it's still my favorite drawing app almost 4 years later. This app comes with a good variety of brushes like pens, pencils, painting brushes, different textures, etc. And you can also make your own to suit your style or workflow. Once you learn the ins and outs of the app, which doesn't really take very long, it makes art so much easier. Plus, everything you do is recorded in time-lapse automatically so you can share it to social media. So if you haven't tried Procreate, I would definitely recommend it. I'd say it's very much worth it. And they also came out with a new app for animation called Procreate Dreams, so let me know if you guys would like to see a video on that one. And here's the final drawing. Up next is Ibis Paint. This is a pretty popular app. It's one that I've heard a lot about before but never tried it until now. I'm using the free version, and it looks like it has mostly everything available, but it has ads that pop up every now and then. You can get the full version for $2.99 a month, but I think the free version works just fine. First thing I noticed was that the canvas size matters. So a smaller canvas has a low resolution but works smoother, and the big canvas has a better resolution but it runs slower. This tends to be the same thing with every app, but I sometimes work on a bigger canvas in Procreate and it almost never crashes, for me at least. So I went somewhere in the middle for the canvas size on this one. So honestly, I didn't really like the app when I started drawing because of all the buttons on the screen. Maybe I'm just used to the simple interface in Procreate, but the more I continued drawing, the more I got used to it and it grew on me. It has a 2-finger tap undo and 3-finger tap redo and a liquefy tool, which is great. I did find it to be a bit laggy though, and you can only use it on 1 layer at a time, but I can't really complain. It had a pretty big selection of brushes, but I stuck with the simple pencil and the round brush for most of the drawing. One thing about the brushes that I noticed was the brush texture became fuzzy when you increase the brush size. Also, since I was using the free version, you have to watch an ad to be able to use some of the brushes for about 18 hours, but it's only one ad for all the brushes. The app had other useful features that I always look for, like layer modes, transform or lasso tool, and being able to flip the canvas. It also had a smudge and blur tool. I found it best to use both of these together when blending colors for a smooth transition, because using just the smudge tool pulled the colors across the canvas without really blending them. So, do I recommend it? Yes, I do. I think it's a pretty good app for beginners and intermediate artists. There's no limit on layers, it has tons of brush options and cool features, even on the free version. And if ads bother you, then you can go ahead and get the full version for about $2.99 a month. I think I will definitely try this app again in the future. And here is the final drawing. Next up we have Clip Studio, another very popular app that you probably heard of before. This was probably my least favorite app. I really wanted to like it, but I think it just confused me. I feel like there's quite a learning curve for it. It reminded me of Photoshop, which also has a busy interface like Clip Studio. For me, it just kind of intimidates me, I guess. I like being able to figure apps out without spending hours Googling or watching tutorials on how to use them. But I did give it a try, and after a while on it, it did get better. But by the end of this drawing, there was still so much I didn't know about how to use this app. I only used the free version, or doodle mode, which meant I couldn't export my drawing, so I just screenshot it at the end. Clip Studio has different payment plans, ranging from $4.49 till $8.99. You can choose to pay monthly or just one-time annual payment. So with having so many buttons, it made it hard for me to find the liquify and blend tool. I kept getting confused between different buttons and a little overwhelmed personally. I did like the brushes and the different textures that it offered, and I see it also has a feature for animation. I really do think this is a great app that has a lot to offer once you get over the learning curve, and I've seen lots of great advanced artists use it and create beautiful masterpieces with it, but I do think that it's better for more intermediate or advanced artists who have already used some sort of drawing program in the past and can figure out their way around this one. And here's the final drawing screenshotted. Lastly, we have Adobe Fresco. This is one you can use for free or with an Adobe account if you have one. They have different payment plans. I believe you can get it for $9.99 a year if you just want to draw on your iPad, or you can just draw on the free version. The free version doesn't have all the brushes, so make sure to keep that in mind. I've used this app in the past and I really like it, especially the way the brushes work and how they blend together. They have these dynamic live brushes. They have realistic oil paint and watercolor that stays wet. And these brushes are super fun to play with. They create beautiful textures and patterns. I would definitely recommend to get this app just to play around with these brushes, honestly. There's a very small learning curve with this app. I think it's pretty easy to use and it has a nice and simple interface, which we all know by now that I love. It does allow you to flip your canvas, and it also has a liquify tool, and you can use as many layers as you need and different layer modes as well. If you do get an Adobe account, then you can save your art to the cloud and you can access it across your different devices, so I think that's pretty cool. So I would definitely recommend this app to any artist, beginner, intermediate, advanced. It's very user-friendly and it has very beautiful brushes. And here is my final drawing. And those were all the apps. I can't believe I managed to draw the same girl 9 times without losing it. And something I noticed was that my style kind of changed a bit with every app, because I wasn't used to drawing on these apps, that it kind of changed a bit. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments which of these apps you've tried and which is your favorite. And also let me know which drawing is your favorite. Mine was probably Procreate and Infinite Painter, but I might be a little biased. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I was able to help you find a drawing app for you. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.